Hello, 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 hello. How's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome, 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 welcome. It is June 9th. It's going really well. It's one day till transfer window, at least the first part closes. And well, in good fashion, Arsenal have signed nobody. The same story, different day, basically. That's what it is.
Basically.
But today we have something special. We have views on sport on the channel. Debut in general for anyone on my channel, to be honest. So
I'm
let's
honored.
see how that goes. Let's see how
Honored.
that goes. But yeah, if you haven't already, obviously he has a channel. He's a top guy, top person, not a top gooner, so that's always a plus. Let's be real. But yeah, if you haven't already, go subscribe, go show some love and everything. But today we are here to talk about the obvious. Let's just say it as it is, the obvious, the chaos, the madness, the incompetence, and of course the big Slovenian 6'5" Ibrahimovic, as someone calls him, Benjamin Šeško, and all this stuff. But yeah, big up AJ, big up, big up, big up, big up. We are on 7 likes already. Holy crap! Never been on 7 likes before the stream kicks off. Not gonna lie, never ever. Big up. That's your effect. You're famous, I guess. You're famous. Yeah. 100%. Big up Vigilante. Big up, big up. Hope you're doing well today.
Big up.
Big up everyone. But yeah, how are you feeling today about all this?
As I was telling you backstream, bro, it's just like I'm just kind of tapped out, man. I'm just really resigned. Like, again, Arsenal have done what they usually do and just sucked all of the energy out of us, kind of, build us up and then pull us back down. And the usual psychological operation is in progress. And as Shane would say, they dangle you the prom queen, and yet we're getting serious links with the pig at the end. Harry Plopper, as I call him. But yeah, no. Other than that, other than Arsenal, I'm okay. But Arsenal, it's leaving a lot to be desired, my bro. I'll just start with that. I hope you're good today, though, man. I hope you're good today.
I'm good. But yeah, it's so long. Like, it's been 9 days. You would say only, but it feels like 9 years because what can you say? Generally, it feels. I'm at work. I go online when I have a break. I check what's going on. I'm like 5 minutes on just to see everything, and already I'm like sitting there, and like, what now?
Every time you check the transfer, like for me, it's like I don't really try and do it as much. I'm trying to stop myself doing it, but I can't. The dopamine addict in me. I want a little boost. I want to stop feeling in a rut, if you will. So you look on X, you look on Sky, you look on YouTube, and yeah, I'm staring at it just like you. And it kind of, I don't know if you've ever seen Da Vinci's Code. Where the guy is kind of he's kind of whipping himself, because that's what it's like. If you go and watch the transfer news for an Arsenal fan, it's just like almost chastising yourself because it's not looking good at the moment. I mean, it's slow, it's a bit lethargic. It doesn't really fill me with joy. But we're getting told, my bro, be calm, calmer. But it's
be
about
excited.
Yeah, be excited. Then it's be calm. It's about to close, my bro. So I don't know. I'm sure we'll get into it, but yeah, I'm not feeling so good, bro.
Yeah, it's insane. Big up Mubarak. Hope you're doing well today. Gents, this needs to be said. Sesko actually done worse at Leipzig than Timo, and look how that worked for Chelsea and Spurs. Well, well, as Lothar Mateusz said, Sesko is Havertz with Werner's pace, so doesn't strike with confidence, does it?
He's going to be. I think and I think when did I see it reported that Havertz is guaranteed like the first? That must be lies. I mean, why would you do that? Why would you? I mean, I don't know if you heard that he's going to be guaranteed like the first 4 games of the season. Havertz,
at least.
Yeah. Which is horrifying. I mean, even if we did get Sesko, I mean, surely we couldn't see him benched for Havertz. Surely.
Well, given. It's weird because the reports Havertz is going to start first 4 games. Look, kind of, maybe, to some level. Okay, I can accept it. Like, kind of, maybe, right? It is what it is, right? If you really try to find that one silver lining, kind of, right? But then there were reports about 2 weeks ago that Arteta is a big admirer of Havertz, so no matter who comes in, Havertz is not getting pushed out of the first team, and everything just goes down the drain pretty much instantly. And it's like, oh, here we go again. Like, it doesn't change. It's always the same. But for me, the biggest thing is that last summer we could have signed Sesko. It's like we were linked with him and everything. And after the window closed, we got told by very reliable sources, let's just put it that way, right? That Sesko didn't sign because Arteta told him, or Edu told him, or whoever told him that he's gonna be backup to Havertz. So if now he's ready to come, pause. Like,
Quickly,
what has changed? What has changed?
What has changed? That's a great point. That's a great point. Sorry, go on.
Like, if on one side you get told that Havertz is starting either way, maybe it could be in the midfield, because I saw Igal, I think, tweeted that his future attacking, like Sesko up top, Saka on the right, I think it was Rodrigo or someone on the left, and Havertz in the 10, and he had dropped the golden boy Odegaard by the looks of things.
For Havertz, that's surprising. From Michael and Bubbles, that is very surprising, man. That is very. You want to know something? I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that, my bro. I didn't think he'd drop Odegaard for Havertz, not at all. But this is the kind of thing that Arteta will probably do. So I think, you know, this kind of what do they call it in science? You know, when they're mixing up different things in the old in the flask for the social experiment that they call Arsenal. You know, Arteta will definitely, he's gonna die on this hill, this Havertz hill. I think we've said it before. You've said it in my chats. You know, we've spoken about it, and this love affair that he's got with him is just gonna cripple us and put us even further behind. Because I don't know about you, my guy. That's the kind of feeling that I'm getting. Like every other team is, you know, Turkey is basically confirmed. 8 Nori today was confirmed. You know, they're moving quickly. Chelsea is still obviously moving quick for the Mainan deal. Like everyone's Man United, they're getting all of our targets, bro. You know.
Yeah. See?
They're getting all of our targets. So I'm starting to feel panic. Look, if you know, I let me just make this clear, right? I do not want Sesko, right? But if Sesko is your guy and you've done all the background and all of the homework and the washing up and everything else, then shouldn't this have been a done deal? Like even now, do you know what I mean? And if you are going to get Sesko, then yes, I want to see someone like Rodrigo on the left. But can Arsenal pull that off?
Nobody knows. Like, what can we do? Because we haven't seen, well, technically Berta in action whatsoever. Because looking at Sesko, looking at, well, Zubimendi, God knows what's going to happen there. They are both signings from last summer. So it's Edu and Nato's handwork, you could argue. So we don't know what's happening with Berto. Is he here just as a figure, just a face, just because? Or will he be given the power? Because there is no point having Berta here if we have basically could have kept Eto if that's the case. Maybe it's because of the contacts or something like that. But otherwise, like, what's the point? Like, there is no point in that regard.
Yeah, you know, like it's that's what I've just started questioning it straight away, and people like, no, you can't question it. You know, gentlemen's agreements, these things could have been agreed before, but you know, I'm tired of being a nice guy, bro. You know, what's a gentleman's agreement? If there's nothing written in stone, my apologies for that. If there's nothing written in stone, then what makes you like? It's an easy out. If you're Arteta, you could say, well, hold on now. You know, we've got a new sporting director in town. He doesn't agree with what we want to agree with. This is where he's going. Sorry about that, guys. Maybe we can do something in the future. Things like that. You know, I don't believe that it's just, oh, it was just arranged, so now we have to go with it, because that doesn't fill me with any confidence. If you was a competent guy and said, well, hold on, he's only got 13 league goals last season. You know, I mean, obviously I'm hearing today it's 70 million euros, but what we were hearing yesterday is 80 to 100 million euros. You know, surely Gyökeres is the better market opportunity. So I'm expecting you to come in as the voice of reason, the competence guy. And clearly we haven't seen that, especially if Sesko comes through the door. So no, it doesn't fill me with any confidence, bro. I mean, maybe I'm just being panicky, but I'm sorry, you know, the PTSD is real with me. You know, Arsenal's been doing the same kind of going over the same routine for a long time. you know, Gyökeres, Rodrigo, and then we'll end up with Sesko and Sane. And if that happens, then for me it just doesn't signify any change, bro. It really don't.
Like, it's been the case for years. Like, I know it's not the same markets, but ultimately we are linked with Benzema, and then we signed Takuma Asano or someone like that. Like, it's insane. And if you look even at, well, Emery might not be the best example, but to be honest, also Wenger to some extent, he wanted Kanté, he got Granit Xhaka. Like, Emery wanted Fabinho, he got Lucas Torreira. And players like that. And if you think what Fabinho did in Premier League, what Kanté did in Premier League in general, it's like, for God's sakes, man.
Exactly.
Same thing.
Exactly that. And that's what I'm saying. So the whole thing keeps going, but this time around, right, Robbo? This time around, my broski, and big up AJ.
Not that common though.
No, I was just picking him up. Not nothing to do with Garnacho. Hell no. Big up Curtis Shaw. He was kind of like, he was questioning it today. I was watching some of his on playback, and he was like, oh, "Is he better than Martin?" I'm like, "But stop this! Stop this! This is how starving we are, Robert." That's just actually made me miss my point completely. When you say Garnacho, my head just goes.
I'm just head laugh instantly. Yeah,
I can't even remember what I was saying, bro. But no. I don't
about not getting signings, the ones you actually want. Like, makes sense. We were talking about that.
Yeah, sorry. This time around, thank you for that, because I am a toddler. I keep saying it every day on my stream, and I need to get reined in, right? This time around, my bro, the manager's getting who he wants. It's not like, oh, Arteta wanted Gyökeres and we gave him Sesko. Like, he actually wants Sesko. We all want Gyökeres, and he actually is getting what he wants. And we still can't get who. That's what I'm trying to say. I've got a theory that maybe the club is actually kind of cursed in a way. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. Maybe it's just my pessimistic view. I'm sorry if I'm kind of dripping it onto everyone, but I'm just saying, bro, we've actually got a manager that for once is not getting that treatment. It's him. You're the reason why we're going after Sesko, in my humble opinion. So we just can't catch a break, bro. We just can't catch a break.
Yeah, but it looks that way because all the time it's either we don't get who we want or we just don't get anyone. The infamous Wenger window when we only signed Per Cech and everything. Like, oh my goodness gracious. But if you look at it, like, he, in Arsenal's history, whether you like it or not, is the most supported, most backed, most agreed with manager, whether you look by the looks of things from hierarchy's point of view and also from fan base's point of view.
Yeah.
So we have tried both ways and nothing's working. Like, should try something new at the end of the day. But nobody wants to do that. That is the biggest thing, because looks like just Kroenke is happy. 97% of the fan base that rated season acceptable or good or whatever, like, also are happy. Like, when's going to be the change? When something is going to change? New ownership. That is arguably the only thing that could save us, arguably. Yeah. But since COVID times, we haven't heard anyone. There was this Nigerian oil prince. There was Daniel Ek with Henry and everything. That was the last time we heard anyone even discussing about potential purchase of Arsenal. And even then, they offered like 2.53 billion, and it wasn't enough. And if you look at current stage, how we financially have risen, per se, that players we have, like, according to Forbes, it's like 1.8 billion team, but most likely, given Kroenke's, they would want about 5-6, I would assume, with taxes and everything, like businessmen. And unless it's Saudis, Qataris, I don't know who else. What else is there? Pablo Escobar, maybe, or something like that. Like, nobody can afford that. Let's be real. Like, real. At the end of the day, nobody can get that, and so we are stuck. At the end of the day,
stuck up shit creek. I always the little bit of hope that I've always had is that, you know, FSG are kind of like KSC, and, you know, they've always been similar like that. You know, they never spent, you know, nothing last season. But even them, even they are dunking on me. You know, like, we just can't catch a break. And you're absolutely right. Now, so, I mean, even now that the manager's getting everything, first and foremost, yes, I look at him, especially for last season, especially for how we're moving forward in an unprecedented summer, and he's getting goosebumps thinking about it, and it's already, and all the things that he said built, you know, at the end of the season, and then here we go again, you know, being very lackluster. You know, a whole windows. I know not the whole summer, but the opening part of the summer is, and it don't matter whether we got Club World Cup or not. I want to get the players bedded in quick and fast. Like
Liverpool don't have Club World Cup.
Exactly. Jesus, Man United don't either, right? And even they don't even have Europe. They don't even have Europe, bro. And how can it's like they've got more pull than we have. Apparently, they weren't even meant to have money, but they're getting all the players that we were in for. So it is alarming, bro. Because I thought Berta, as you, because trying to round back to your point, we're talking about change. I thought Berta was going to be that wave of change, that competency, the best in class. No, we're not going to have Sesko. It makes no sense. We're going to get Gyökeres, things like that. And already I'm seeing the same old Arsenal. We're extending Lukonga when we couldn't sell him anyway. So why give him an extra year when we're not going to be able to sell him? Do you know what I mean? You know, Trossard, more money but no extra time. If that's true, then that's Ronald McDonald. You know, we're not going in for, we're not tying up Gyökeres already. That should have been a done deal. We should have been like taking the bow off that already. You know, so you know, the first people through the door, Zubimendi and Kepa. And Zubimendi, we still don't even know. I mean, I watched the Fabrizio video literally before I came on here, and he was like, look, for all the people I know in the background, yes, Madrid are trying to hijack the deal, but he's agreed to go to Arsenal, da, da, da. But like I said, nothing is ever done until they're holding the shirt or until you see them on Sky signing like Frimpong. And I was just saying in the group today on the Brothers Arsenal one, because Normski put in there with, like I said, Sky Sports with the yellow. When you see it in yellow, you know it's something real. And Man United, you know, they're in. How can they be in for Gyökeres? And I don't know, man. Like I said, I just feel, where is that change, bro? I was really hoping this was going to be the change, and so far, no good. I'm not saying it can't change. I'm not saying, you know, it can't all go mad, but sooner or later, who's it going to be to make the big statement that we need? Because Turkey's now snapped up, Reinders is snapped up, Wirtz looks like he's snapped up. We can't get Kvaratskhelia. He already went in January. Like who is there? Gyökeres, if he gets snapped up, Cunha. So you know, who is there? I'm really, so I'm starting to panic a little bit, bro. I really am.
Well, yeah, but like for Arsenal to get someone big, I guess they have to do something they pretty much never do. They need to go in, somehow show their chest, and just drop the bag on the table and say, you come with us, you take the money, and we just go at the end of the day. Because the biggest signings we have made at the end of the day, the most exciting ones for me personally, has been Ozil, has been Alexis, and has been Aubameyang. But then again, if you look at all of those signings, it's not like ours. I know we signed them partially Champions League and Europa League, but at the end of the day, if you look at everything that surrounded those situations, it's not like Arsenal had to fight for them or they showed that they are the big team. Because Ozil arguably was on the way out, kinda. Alexis was sick and tired sitting behind Pedro, and Neymar came in. And Aubameyang, whether you believe it or not, at Borussia Dortmund with the attitude issues and everything, that's a completely different story. But at the end of the day, also Arsenal needed to do something, because they traded basically Alexis to United and got Mkhitaryan in return. Like, nice.
Oh, sorry, it's laughable, bro. It's laughable.
It's good times as an Arsenal fan. It's good times.
Oh, but there you go. And I mean, look, and even if you look at this, I mean, I'm sure we might talk about Rodrigo. I mean, slightly jumping the gun a little bit. Even if you look at that, it's only due to him wanting to play on the left and not feeling like the star at Real Madrid. Again, we're never just in for these players beforehand, like a Isak at Sociedad, like a Gyökeres at Sporting, for instance. The moment you start seeing them flourish, like a Kvaratskhelia at Napoli, the moment you start seeing them flourish, why are we never, like, our talent ID is literally in the bin, bro, literally in the bin. And I was slyly hoping that Bert was going to change all of this. Yeah, it's not been the same since he left. Definitely not, man. Definitely not. We lost such a massive football guy, when Dean left. Obviously,
we lost a lot in that regard. Yeah, it's never recovered, arguably.
No. Him. I mean, he convinced Wenger to stay. Arguably, it might have been right or wrong at the time. You know, hindsight's a wonderful thing. You know, big up AFC Vigilante. He's always saying, oh, but he brought the Cronkies to the club, which was obviously bad, but he was always working for what he thought was the betterment of Arsenal. I never ever thought David Dein was ever a guy to try and get one up for himself, make money, and not think about the Arsenal. Never once. So yeah, we've never replaced him, bro. Never ever replaced him.
Yeah, looking even over the years, like how long did it took us to replace Patrick Vieira, for example? Like it's like feels like a century. It's a decade, pretty much. It took us like and everything, and then now, of course, the latest one replace a striker. Like it's technically it's 3.5 years since Aubameyang left, but you could argue it's been 5 because since we won the FA Cup and Aubameyang had that spurt, which basically he gave Arteta the FA Cup on the silver platter because he inherited Golden Boot winning Aubameyang, which we won, by the way, playing 3 at the back, which we have never done since. We have, like, everything went downhill from there. Then we absolutely revamped the team, and we have won, well, some community shields.
That's what
beat the Madrid.
Yeah, we won the beat Man City Cup. We've won the semi-final of we only won the quarter-final of the Champions League. We lost the semi-final. So yeah, big up Vigilante, bro. Big up Vigilante. No, it's a great point because obviously he did. Then he obviously just going back onto the ownership thing. I think Dean was even the guy who brought Usmanov over as well, and you know, in the end, that didn't really turn out to be a good one either. But you know, like I said, it's just like with Dean, you always just felt he always had the betterment of Arsenal more than like the Nina Bracewell Smiths and the other kind of people that was involved in the background. But yeah. So big up you for that, man. Big up you for that. Obviously, I just saw that comment and it just kind of spun my mind again, man. But yeah, man. Like I said, with just kind of going back to this whole kind of Rodrigo thing. Like I said, I think that's just all PR spin. I mean, I don't know if there's any legs to it, but if there was, I mean, do you feel like, just kind of posing a question back to you a little bit, that we might face a challenge from anyone? Like, do you feel like anyone is going to kind of put out that kind of money? Because it is going to be in the region of like 80 to 84 Great British pounds. Do you feel like anyone would try and challenge us on that if we did?
Obviously, since Arsenal linked with him vaguely, there's also Chelsea and Man City. But I'm just now thinking, if you look at Man City, their attack is going to be Cherki, Marmoush, Foden, and Haaland up top with the backups of Doku, something like that. Chelsea, God knows what Chelsea are doing, to be honest. They just sign anyone wants, basically. That's their approach, shotgun approach. You want him, I will be there first, and that's about it at the end of the day.
That's what I mean.
But definitely someone will be in for Rodrigo, 100%. Like, see, big up Boyton, he's saying probably Bayern will be in for Rodrigo. I just read that Bayern apparently are looking at Barcola as well, by the looks of things, because Coleman is leaving, Sane looks like he's leaving as well. So they need those wingers at the end of the day. And getting Barcola, to be honest, for them would be nice. If they get Rodrigo, like looking at how they play, like that's the biggest issue, because we sign big player once every 4 or 5 years, arguably. I would say
arguably.
Ozil was well. Alexis, Aubameyang. Like, for me, the weird thing is, many people say that Rice is a big deal. For me, money-wise, it was a big deal. But also we overpaid. I still believe so, right?
Yeah.
But the excitement-wise, the lift-up-wise, that gave me that adrenaline rush, like when we got Özil or Alexis or even Aubameyang to some extent, I never got. Like, it felt kind of flat. Obviously, the fact that the deal got dragged out for it felt like a century as well didn't help. But at the end of the day, we don't have that. And then you add on top of that we have had the same attack for, you could argue, 3 years now, without any refreshments whatsoever. since Jesus signing, we have still Trossard, Martinelli, Saka, and that's about it. We signed Havertz to play in midfield, as Arteta said, but then we stick him up top. So, like, that is also the thing. We're very stagnated in that regard. We're
He's
standing still.
He's the most lucky manager in the world in that regard, like in terms of trying to identify a position and then big up why not, and then having to find somewhere else for them. So he's been very lucky, and that's why the puzzle keeps getting jumbled up. But you're absolutely right. We definitely have stagnated, and even though Barcola, I think his finishing has a lot to be desired. In terms of him progressing the ball and getting past the player and being dangerous, that is kind of someone we need to be looking at, especially when you do miss out on a Marmoush or a Kvaratskhelia, and you're not going to be going in for a Leao or a Lookman, things like that. So, there's Bayern going to do that, and they're going to be offloading their dregs again, Sane on either Spurs or probably going to be us, because we like a thrift shop. we like to shop in London. We call them the charity shops. Do you know what I'm saying? So again, it's just, and Dio saying, we only buy one big player every 5 years. I've had other people say in other chats, and even in my chat, Arsenal just don't do business like that, and I'm sick of it. That don't mean to excuse it, does it? Because we need something different. Otherwise, we're gonna get left behind. I don't know about you, bro, but I feel like we've missed our chance to win something, and now it's about making a statement and trying to claw our way back to the pack before we start getting left behind. Yeah.
Looking in that regard, for me, Arsenal have had over the years, I would say, 2-3 maybe windows when we had a chance, and if we don't do it, we are back in top 4, and then we basically have to sit patient and again wait our turn, which it's one of the worst feelings, to be honest, you can imagine, because the year Leicester won, then like that already is everything just gone wrong for Arsenal, arguably. Ozil's assist record, and Giroud forgetting what's a ball and what's a foot and everything. Like, it's insane. But for me, the last 2 years were the years where Arsenal should have won it. At the end of the day, no matter how you look at it, this was our chance. And now we are, you could say that last summer was the defining summer. Either we gonna win it, or we gonna basically be back in, I would say, consistent Champions League spot, but we not gonna be fighting for the top, because in some instances Liverpool kept up with us for the last 2 years. Well, not the previous year, but before that. But they fell off towards the end, and that was due to injuries, due to whatever the reasons were. Last and everything, Man City, they just dominated at the end of the day. We were 8 points clear. Saliba got injured, and the whole season fell apart because we signed Kiwior and played Rob Holding instead of him. Like, that's insane. I still remember how Kiwior was tying his shoelaces as we conceded. Like the good old days.
I can't remember. Did we do anything in January? I don't think we did anything in January either.
Which January?
For the 22-23. Did we
signed Trossard
and
Kiwior?
We was meant to have. Was that the year we was meant to get Caicedo?
That was the Mudryk year. That was the Mudryk year when he was flying, apparently on the plane flying to Chelsea and everything.
Oh my God! So even in those years, there was still some business in January. And then, for us last season to do absolutely nothing when the whole team's falling apart. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like they're a little bit too loose, and they're kind of if they was at the casino, you'd maybe want to like limit their money a bit. Do you know what I mean? Because they're gambling a bit too much with Arsenal. And yes, I feel like, especially last season with Man City falling off, we just, every time with Man City, we just tell them hold our beer. If you're gonna fall off, we'll fall off even worse, sort of. I mean, they got to a final, man. They're holding the runners-up medal.
We've got second place all
Yeah. We've got second place 3 times in a row, and we ain't got nothing to show for that, bro. Not even a runners-up medal. So, make of that what you will, but it should have been our year. And this is the same Liverpool, by the way. Only Chiesa's the difference, and he barely played. So it's the same Liverpool for the last 3 seasons, and they managed to step in and say, "Oh, sorry about that, mate." When's it going to be us, Robbo? Do you know what I mean? When?
Yeah, because we got told that this team is built into prime condition when Man City falls off. Ironically enough, they did fall off. And then what happened? Oh, look, Liverpool took everyone by the balls, and everyone just overtook and run away with it. Let's be real; they didn't even get a chance. Man United and Brighton have been closer and even on top of the table last season. Arsenal were never. Like, that says a lot, to be honest. That genuinely says a lot. But one thing, since we're talking about strikers and everything, this is arguably the latest, whether you trust it or not. But Al Hilal apparently haven't still abandoned the talks with Osimhen, but if they do, apparently yesterday it was Gyökeres, today it's Benjamin Šeško. And I read from, was it Sky Sports or someone else, that United daily are calling to Sporting to inquire about Gyökeres and everything. So the big question now stands: United get Gyökeres. Let's just hypotheticals, as top Gunners love what ifs, and if he didn't got injured and he didn't do that, let's just talk about hypotheticals. Gyökeres goes to United. Sesko, doesn't matter. Chelsea, Al Hilal, wherever. Like, that is a possibility. For me, that is one of the TikToks I released about like 3 weeks ago before the window was open, and I said, if you want Sesko, by all means, right? It's your choice. However, if you really want him, go and get him done right now on the spot, or someone will swoop in under your nose and you will be left with nothing. You will be scrapping, and then we're going to sign another Yaya Sanogo at the end of it. Or Yamarun Shamah or someone like that.
Or Lucas Perez.
Oh, to be honest, I kind of think he was a bit mistreated. Not gonna lie, but that's my biasness a bit about Lucas Perez, to be honest. He's still kicking ball, I think, today.
Really? Well, maybe we should give him a call, bro. You know,
Spanish second league, though. I'm not so sure. Or even third. I don't know, but I think he's kicking just like Santi Cazorla still is playing, which is kind of nuts. Yeah, but who are we getting as striker? Because the obvious one, obviously, is Watkins. Because he got offered to us, not we got linked with him even in January. So that is the only option we have, because it shouldn't be the case. Let's be real. We should be able to take anyone. I think it was, who was it? Was it Boyton or was it AJ? I think it was AJ, but someone mentioned why nobody's looking at Retzeghi from Atalanta, the guy who missed the double penalty and the header, which Raya made the double save and everything, right? That guy. But that's it. Like, we should be able to look at some strikers. We should have this. And to think that we had some strikers in the team, and Arteta has basically said, well, you're not good enough, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, that Bierret goes to Sturm Graz, balls out, then in January goes to Monaco, and in Monaco in 3-4 months scores the same amount of goals as Sesko scores during the whole season in Bundesliga. Like, you just sit there and think, what the hell is going on here? And Chido B. Martin saw everything unfold and said, well, I'm going to 15th place United.
Yeah.
And Kevin saw the same thing, and he could have actually won a trophy before Arsenal. There was a possibility of that, if you look at it that way, at least. He has played in the final.
Yeah.
Like, if we miss both, who are we getting?
Probably someone of the Lucas Perez ilk. Like, you know, we ain't gonna pivot and then say, all right, well, maybe we'll just have to pay a bit extra and get Osimhen, or, you know, maybe you know, the 70, 80 odd million that we was prepared to pay, maybe we should go to Atletico and see what Julian Alvarez, if he wants to come back to the Premier League. It's not like there's no options, bro. It's not like there's no options.
There are options. 100%. But from the latest I read, that Atletico want if you want Alvarez, you have to pay his release clauses in full. Apparently,
and what's his release clause?
$500 million.
$500 million. Is that? Are you kidding?
$500
million. Oh my lord!
In La Liga, they are not. Yeah, 500 million.
Are they on spice, bro? Like, what is that?
But in La Liga, though, they are mandatory by default. Release clauses.
100.
Not 500, but in general, release clauses.
I'm just saying, bro. Osimhen's out there. Tony's still playing in Saudi Arabia.
We signed Tony, by the way, last
bro, why didn't we sign Tony, bro? Ollie Watkins is an option. Is obviously not someone that I wanted, but Premier League proven, decent age. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, to put all of our eggs on Sesko is just silly. So I didn't mind the whole we're talking to him and Gyökeres, but it just always seemed like Sesko was the more favored, the more, and it's like, and for me, it's never been the right move. But if you're gonna do it, and you said that you've done all the homework and all the washing up and all the hoovering, and you've done all of this other stuff in the background, then why isn't it done yet? It should be a done deal. He should be here already. Do you know what I mean? Whether I want him or not, you've done all of the background, right? So why is he not here? But yes, you're absolutely right. I mean, you know, there's other players out there. I mean, I've always kind of liked the look of Ekatike, but I don't think he's worth the money. I mean, I've always said, you know, the lap to Chelsea is a very good move. He's young, he's powerful, he's a competent striker, he's Premier League proven. He got a decent tally at Ipswich. Like, that was a good move by them. You know what I mean? But there is other options out there. There really is, and it's just normally the, you know, the Arsenal way, even like in what with Wenger, like what you said, you know, the moment that we can't get the first option, there's no other pivot, and that's what I don't want to see. For me, that indicates that there's no change in the strategy. Do you know what I mean? And what happened to all these plans and everything that you keep talking about, bro? Because
the list of last year.
Do you know what I'm saying? So and when it's time to put these things into action, we never see it. We never see these plans. We never see how diligent you are. So I'm just like, bro, what are you doing? Are you just hustling, bro? Is it are you just winging it? You know what I mean? After 5 years, you're still winging it. So I don't know, man. Like I said, I hoped Berta was gonna come and rectify the ship, you know, steer the ship in the right waters, but so far, no good. We'll have to wait and see, bro. But like I said, in terms of strikers, Tony's out there, Oshiman's out there, you know, even Openda, people still don't like him, but I think he's all right. There is obviously Alvarez, but as you said, that release clause is ridiculous. So I suppose that takes him off the market. You know, there's Watkins, you know, Chris Wood got 20, didn't he get 20 Premier League goals last season? I'm not saying he's great, but I'm saying at least that would make that's a more calculated risk than Sesko, bro.
Yeah,
For a win now, if you're talking win now. So I mean, I don't know. Like I said, they should have more than one option from everything that they say. So, you know, the fact that we haven't, you know, if Sesko's taking too long or they want too much money, then we should be pivoting. So, you know, but if Al Hilal come in, you never know, man. For me, come on, Al Hilal, come on.
I get it. And for me, the confusing thing is that it looks like we could be signing the bust goalkeeper Kepa and all this stuff, right? Like, we're not going to get into that, but obviously there are talks that Kepa has some attitude issues, right? That everything with what happened with Sarri and everything, although he was in Madrid, he didn't look that way. Let's just say it lightly, right? But the thing is, if people say that he has attitude issues and we are technically signing him, potentially, right? Then that was the same excuse why we didn't sign Tony. He has attitude issues. We didn't like his attitude and everything. So why the hypocrisy in this regard? For a striker specifically in this instance, actually. Like, it doesn't make any sense if you look at it. It genuinely doesn't make any sense. But for me, last year as well, looking at the market, like Dovbyk went from Girona to Roma for about 32 million, something like that. Like cheapest. I was top goal scorer in La Liga, if I'm not mistaken, last year or something like that. Let's not say Morata, for example, but still a striker.
I just did. Yeah, no, but he'll fit the sorry to just jump in because people keep talking about he's not going to fit the system and like I thought Berta's going to come in and pick players for the club. Yeah, if this manager can't get a tune out of some of the best kind of upcoming players in world football at this point in time, then maybe the manager needs to go and someone else can try and get a tune out of him. That's what I'm saying. When we keep spending money on Havertz and Sesko and all the things that the manager wants, then if he can't win with them and's got to go, then you've left the club in the worst position. You know, so that's kind of my point on that. But bro, I mean, look, Tony, like I said, I just, as you said, attitude, it's only when it suits their narrative. Like I said, Berta might have come in and said, I want Gyökeres, but it don't suit Arteta's narrative. So that's why everyone will fight against it. If Arteta says yes to something, then that's all it is, bro. As you said, the hypocrisy, that's all it is. And it just smacks like Arteta's winning every battle, bro. And I'm not filled with confidence.
Yeah, looking at this, like, it's insane that if you look, Arteta says every transfer window sometimes rephrasing, paraphrasing, or just goes in chat GPT, tell me how to say this in 10 different ways or something like that, right? So he says, we want to maximize every window. We're looking for the best opportunities and everything. Kvaratskhelia comes, well, we don't care. Tony available, well, we don't care. And everything. Marmoush, yeah, obviously. And Chelsea signed.
Sorry.
Yeah. I know City overpaid for Marmoush. There's no argument about that. But they recognize that they screwed up in summer. Their owner, Khaldoon, came out and said, we genuinely effed up in summer. So we had to fix that. So they already started in January, and now they are continuing the fix-up. They're getting rid of some players, obviously letting go of KDB. Like, it feels like you can buy a new squad pretty much based on wages and everything, like what he was on. But ultimately, Turkey, 30 million. Brilliant. Reinders, 50 million. Light work.
Brilliant.
Like
30 million.
Yeah, it's light work. And looks like Pep also is not inverting as much anymore, because it feels like he's going to pack the midfield, overlap and everything. Maybe invert on occasion, but it looks like he's going to pack the midfield and then overlap with Nori. Maybe he's still trying to get Livramento apparently and everything. Like, they're changing. I like to see that. Obviously, Arteta is not going to change, but that's a different story.
I was just gonna say that because you notice, Robbo, that he's changing, because also Liverpool are Trent's going. They got Frimpong. They're looking at Gyökeres. High attacking wing backs almost. Do you know what I'm saying? And you know the old saying, "Video killed the radio star." The system thing is dead. Everyone's gonna move on. Just like you said, they're set for Lego head. So just be prepared for that, guys. Be prepared for that.
It's insane. Like, so many opportunities there are. And we take, well, none of them. Let's be real. Like, even the lap, 30 million. Premier League proven, bags goals, release clauses even. You have to pay that and he comes, basically. And that's about it. Jonathan David is for free. Still hasn't signed, not for Inter, not for Napoli, not for anyone. Like, there are countless opportunities. We sit with hands in our laps, twiddle our thumbs, and basically do nothing at the end of the day. But there is another issue which I want to just randomly propose to you, which will be a bit of conspiracy theory on my end, right? The news in the source is a bit sus. Okay, we allow it, right? If you look in brackets, right? But overall, it looks like it's true, because you said yourself, Fabrizio Romano is confirming that it is happening, that Real Madrid are trying to hijack things.
Yeah.
And if you add on top of that Thomas Partey still hasn't signed the new deal, we technically have 3 midfielders on our paybooks, quote unquote, which is Rice, Merino, and of course, Sambi Lokonga, the Belgian Yaya Toure, as he got sold to us. Basically, the dream. So, what we gonna do if this goes wrong? And what I mean by that, Zubimendi goes to Madrid, and Partey actually signs to Barcelona, or even Saudis come in at random time. Just try and hijack him out of nowhere, because apparently Partey wants Partey's family wants a good payday for the future. Partey realizes arguably last big contract of his career, potentially even. But he wants to stay in London, but that's money can sway everything. Let's be real. If push comes to shove, especially if it's Saudi tax-free and everything, it's like easy. So if Zubimendi goes to Madrid, Partey goes Barca or Saudi, we are now 2-3 midfielders short. And what's the plan B, plan C? Where are the backups? Because we only hear about the plan A, you could argue, which is Zubimendi. We haven't been linked pretty much with no midfielders whatsoever. Number 6s, 8s, however you look at it. What are we going to do then?
Well, I'll tell you what we do. We actually use the bloody midfielders that we got, because Miles Lewis-Skelly is a midfielder. Miles Lewis-Skelly is a midfielder. Double pivot. Can you bring that back, please? Because that's what served us so well the season before last. And then when you've got a double pivot, all of a sudden we've got options. It can be Skelly and Rice. It can be Odegaard and Rice. It can be Moreno and Rice. Because lo and behold, he ain't a striker, people. I know he's not the best of midfielders, but if we're put in that position, then that's where we are. You know, there was it the Dan Pot stream? Was it a gal and some other? I don't even know who. You know, you want to know something? We've only got 3 midfielders. No, we ain't. We've got midfielders that this guy keeps trying to make left back. Zinchenko can play 8. He can play 10. Odegaard can play 8. He can play 10. Moreno can play. Bro, I can keep going.
Like, Moreno is a striker, to be honest. Let's be real. But the biggest thing is, we don't still the future of Zinchenko is up in there, because there are talks he might go. Okay, he doesn't go. Cool, number 10, potentially 8, creative and all that stuff. Skelly gets played in midfield, which is, to be honest, quite a few Arsenal fans want to see that, to say the least, right? But that again means we have the Italian stallion, the Italian zucchini as a left back, or Kivior as a left back, one of the two.
Right.
And that doesn't fill me with confidence whatsoever, given how Skelly just showed what he can do, quote unquote, as a left back. That again is another issue. So it means we're gonna sign our 15th left back under Mikel Arteta.
Yeah.
Like Arteta wants these Swiss Army knife type of players, which you can mix and match and play in like 50 positions. And then when basically backs against the wall, he shits the bed at the end of the day. He panics instantly. One player goes injured, one red card, that's it.
And your Swiss Army knives are all blunt. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, it instantly is like that, because one injury to one player, who got injured, I don't remember even, but on top of my head, but he doesn't change that one position. He changes 2, 3 positions instantly, shifts them all around, which completely disrupts the team, the rhythm, quote unquote, system and everything, and then we are left again. Flat on our asses, and that like, what can we do then? Because the squad is not good enough. Let's be real. He's
fumbled the bag, and he definitely fumbled it with Kieran Tierney. You know what I mean? Because he don't invert. You fumbled it. He was the right age. He's got the cross of a lifetime. He can defend. He can go forward. He overlaps. He actually unlocked. If everyone keeps wanting to use those phrases, unlocking Martinelli. It ain't Moreno. It's Kieran Tierney, bro. And you just fumbled the bag, letting him go. But what I will say, obviously, you've got Tariq Mitchell, who's a free. He's not the best in the world, but he can come in and do a job and rotate with Kala and a couple of other guys. I don't see the problem. Do you know what I mean? So there's that. I think Aina is on a free as well. I was surprised that, Liverpool didn't even look at him, to be fair. But obviously, Slot had his eye on Frimpong. But Aina, he's there, bro. I think Aina could come in and be not such a drop-off if Timber ain't playing, because I don't really see a future for Ben White, my bro. I've got to be honest.
After the surgery? Or
after the surgery, bro, seeing him at right back, so much times when I watched him, he gets forward well still, but in terms of the actual defending, a lot of the time I'm seeing you behind the phases of play. I've seen that for Kivior quite a lot as well, in the back end of last season, but he did improve quite a lot. So let me not try and throw Kivior under the bus. But what I'm saying is there is options out there, even free ones, bro. So if Berta wanted to come and box smart and said, hold on, we've only got a certain budget, where are we going to take our risks? Let's not take a risk with the goalkeeper. Let's promote Setford or Hine or whatever. We don't even need to spend any money on the goalkeeper. Let's not help Chelsea send Jadon Sancho back to United. Let's just leave Chelsea alone for one season. Yeah, so let's not waste any money there. Let's go and get Tariq Mitchell and Aina. They're both on a free. That bolsters up our defense. And then Kivior, Kala, they can even Ben White can also be used as centre-back cover. I know people don't like the idea of Ben White as centre-back, but like I said, when you watch him play at right-back, he's not the same guy that we're used to. And that's probably down to Arteta as well, right? And then if you're boxing smart and making those kind of substitutions, then you can start saying, all right, well, if we are going to start using Skelly as a midfielder, Ethan as a 10, not just a replacement for Saka, then the options liven up a little bit, even if you don't get Zubimendi. But if you do get Zubimendi, cool. There's another little linchpin in the midfield. Now, give me something exciting up front. I'm not excited by Sesko. I'll give you that. But give me Rodrigo, like Eze. Do you know what I'm saying? Give me something like that, and maybe I can get behind it. And people in the chat, I'll let you come back in. People in the chat are saying that David is a free, and you've said it. Take him, bro, especially as a backup. But no, we're hindered because of the love affair with 29 and players like that.
I don't get that 29 love fest. This and everything going all over the place. It's actually kind of nuts to me, to be honest. I have no idea like how that is gonna go, because the biggest thing is where is it? Here we go. Why not to say make excuses with injuries as 1 or 2 players out, 3 or 4 positions are short in a small squad. Yeah, we get one injury, we are done instantly. Like have the team just shifts all over the place out of nowhere. And the biggest issue is, when was it? 22-23 season. Many people argue that our season got ruined with Saliba's injury. Like, you could make a very strong statement for that. Let's be real. You can make an argument for that and everything, right?
Mhm.
Hence why he also rushed Jesus back, and now we see what's the aftermath of it, of course. But 3 years, and well, 2.5, and we still 2.5, 22, 23, 23. Yeah,
And
2.5 years. Still no backup for Saliba. People will say that it could be Timba, it could be White. I don't want to see White at center back, knowing how he looked when he just came and everything, and Saliba, he put him at right back, and Saliba was the luckiest move ever, what it feels like, after all the loans he got, and he actually established himself. He doesn't have backups, because as soon as you put a right back in a center back, the right back doesn't have a backup. And if something happens to the right back, Thomas Partey goes right back. And if Thomas Partey leaves, we don't have a right back.
Yeah.
Calafiori is going to play there because he played against PSG like half a year ago there or something like that when we won 2-0. Like, it's all over the place. I get the reasonings, and there should be some specific players who are multi-positional. Let's just put it that way, who can play. But I don't know, I might be a bit old school, but it also makes a very big sense to me that at least the spine of your team or your key positions should be specialists. Like to say, like your striker, number 6 or 8, center back, goalkeeper. Not that they can play wing back and a center back, because for me, those are two completely different positions. For me, center back and a right back, even though they seem similar because they're defensive ones. At the same time, the duties you have to fulfill are quite opposite. Let's just put it that way. And it's quite annoying. And another thing is that I say this quite a bit on my streams. People might be sick and tired of hearing of this, but there is still a very famous, in my country, football commentator, right? And he's saying, and which has stuck with me since childhood, is that show me your midfield and I will tell you what your team is all about and how good it is. And if you look at the best teams of the midfield and how they play, and then you look at Arsenal's midfield, like it's very hard to begin to describe. Let's just put it that way. Because if you look at Rice, okay, cool. Partey, okay, cool. Although we don't know what's going to happen there. Then you look at Merino, who's better at striker than in midfield. Although in double pivot, might be a bit different, of course. Then you have Mosquito guard. We know how that is going to go. So it's looking very peak. Let's just put it that way. Very peak. And the fact that Arteta has bought all these volleyball team players, like we are going for World Championship of volleyball or NBA playoffs or something like that with all the height, and they still get bullied in many, many games. And I'm not talking even about, for example, Newcastle or Aston Villa or teams like that. I'm talking even about the simple championship teams who play a bit more old school, physical type of English football. They just run all over us many times, and it's very, very weird what direction we are going in this way. And I don't know, it might be just me, I might be just old or something like that, but who knows? Like, generally, who knows? For me, the same thing goes about very pacey strikers. Like, okay, Gyökeres, Sesko, right? He has pace. Everyone keeps bragging about it. You mentioned Openda as well, right? He has also pace like through the moon, pretty much, right? Like, Sesko is as fast as Mbappe. Whoever said that, like, I was listening today at work. It's kind of nuts, I'm not gonna lie. But it is true. I'm not gonna lie, it is true.
Yeah.
Like, but at the same time, whenever do we use pace? Like, if you look at things, because when we go on a counter, all of our attackers are playing right back, left back, and we have no outlet, so there is no pace. And when we actually get into the opponent's third, everyone's back, so we have to recycle the ball. So we have no place to utilize the pace that our players have. Good point. In a low block, the pace kind of makes it a bit irrelevant. But Sesko is 6'5", and we can cross him, and he can dunk like Giannis on their heads, right? Basically, that's the argument. He's like Ronaldo of heading and everything, as they say, or something like that. Like, he can jump and he has height, but ultimately, it's.
See, there is points in games where we do get transitional moments, and usually it's Martinelli, especially recently towards the back end of the season, and you can kind of see, like you said, he has to come back because there is no options. Trossard drops too deep. Moreno as the false nine drops too deep. Havertz, when he plays, drops too deep. So anytime we do get that break, we've got Gary Elliott. He's going to run it off the field, mess up the cross or mess up the shot. But if we did have someone like a Rodrigo or even like a Sesko, if he is that fast, we'll have to see what he can do in front of goal. But if we do have that, then we do have those moments in the game. But you're right, most of the time we are playing against low blocks, and not just that, but we also play very lethargic. We're not very, we're not pacey on the transition. Odegaard's got to do a little couple of turns first, and we got to get a few sideways passes in. We got to get it to one wing, then we got to horseshoe it back round to the other wing. So I am just really hoping that changes, because there is parts in the game where it is transitional, and usually it's Martinelli, and we've seen what he does with it. So hopefully that is something we can add to the game, but I'm not confident, bro. I'm not.
Yeah, that's 100%. And I'm reading today that potentially, given that just like RB Leipzig, AC Milan haven't made Europe whatsoever, which is quite disappointing for them. So my question is that there apparently are rumors circulating that Leao could be available for 75 million euros. It's not even pounds, it's euros. Yeah. Thoughts? Yesterday looked decent when he played a bit.
And that's the thing. Just like Zubimendi, and I'm like, look, every time I've seen Zubimendi for Spain, he actually looks all right. Big up Gary. Every time I see Williams for Spain, he looks all right. But when I watch them for their clubs, it's like, But
it's hot and cold, very hot.
It's hot and cold, very hot and cold. But with Leao, I'm a little bit. I haven't watched him for Milan at all. I saw what he was doing yesterday. He looked dangerous. He looked like he'd cause more trouble than Martinelli. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I can't really make a big judgment on him. I think I've seen more of Lookman this season than I have of Leao. You know what I mean? I would like Lookman. I think he's an upgrade on what we've got, but that isn't really hard to do. I mean, Semenyo is an upgrade on what we've got. Do you know what I'm saying? Gordon, Harvey Barnes is probably an upgrade on what we've got on the left, even though he can play left and right. So look, I'm not unopposed to it at this point. It's better than Sane, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? Players of that ilk. If we're looking at that, then no, I'd much rather go and take a punt on a Rafa Leao. So yeah, but to be fair, there should only really be one left winger that we're in for. You know who that is, and if we can't get him, then yeah, maybe a Lookman, maybe a Leao. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. It's definitely an upgrade on what we've got. I'll say that.
Yeah, because I don't watch Serie A as much. I watch Bundesliga and La Liga billion times more. Sometimes even more than Premier League, because watching Premier League, it's like a snorefest half the time. But from when I watch sometimes Serie A, at least AC Milan definitely, Leao strikes me as a player. If he is on it, it's long and you basically are done pretty much. If he's not on it, it's the biggest stink fest since local garbage disposal, basically. Like, it's either or. It's like Trossard. You either get fantastic Trossard, which we got when we just signed him, that's that January, or we get stellar drunken Trossard. Big up to Curtis for that one. Yeah. It's either or. There's no in between. Like, sometimes it feels that way, and that for me is the biggest worry, because usually they turn up in the smallest games. Like that, 9 times out of 10, it's the small games when they tend to turn up, when they do turn up. And when it's the big games, they go missing. And that for me is the biggest worry, because sometimes the big games,
we need consistency.
We need because, to be honest, like for Arsenal, I know this will sound weird, but the way I see it, the big games are mostly never an issue for Arsenal. Like, it has been, but not to an extent as the small games. Like the smaller, lesser teams.
In the league, anyway,
because we can, against Liverpool, we gonna get, at Emirates, 100%. Anfield, well, it is what it is sometimes. But overall, we get ourselves locked in. Like, no, 100% about that. Now, City looks like we got that as well. We'll see next season how that goes, and teams like that. North London derby goes without saying. As soon as we have to play your Bournemouths, Crystal Palaces, Fulhams, Evertons, Burnley, Southamptons, and all these teams, it's like, what's football? We have like not even Sunday league players on the pitch anymore. We have about 11 granddads running around and just and all, like, they don't know what they're doing half the time.
They don't. I call them the usual suspects, and you know, it's a problem raising our game, and that's what we need. As you said, Leao, even Nico Williams, we don't need someone that's 50-50. Listen, if you told me, look, you can, as you said, you can get Leao, and for half of the games this season, he is going to be top notch, and the other half is going to be absolutely rubbish. Or you can go and get Semenyo, and he's going to give you a solid 7.5, but for the whole season. Then I'd much rather get that, because that's the stage that we're in at the moment. Even Dio, big up Dio in the comments. He's saying things like, "We won't get Eze. We don't get players that are academy let go." You know, things like that. And when I hear things like that, look. That's like saying, "Oh, you know, it's going to be a long night. He's just come back from the pub. You know what he's like. She's going to get slapped up again." It don't mean that, and I don't advocate for that. But it doesn't mean that that should be excused just because that's the normal behavior. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to shake all of that. There's no reason why we shouldn't be going to get Eze. And I was calling for Eze last season. He can come. He can do a 10. He can do our left job for us.
I wanted Elise last summer.
I wanted
45 mil.
I wanted both of them. Work. Last season, I said Kudus. Last season, Kudus, Isak, Elise, and Eze. And everyone called me mad. I said, all of them we can get now at a good price before they go up even more. All of them are Premier League ready. All of them come in and improve our squad. And now it's looking like genius moves, isn't it? But it's not. It's really simple. Do you know what I mean? But you know what we're like, man. If it makes too much sense, we're not going to do it. And I mean, look, I just hope that we can somehow eventually shake all of that. Or we don't do that because we normally take long, and we don't do that because we normally, you know, try and shyster with the money. We don't do that because that was an academy player. I want to shake all of that. Do what you need to do to get across the line. That's it, you know.
Yeah, it's like we never have act like a big club. It's always bare minimum to be safe, and well, we go from there basically. Like, that is the worst case scenario, because we had a chance, as always, we blew it. And now last summer was the case to go for it. Let's be real. 2 points, go for it, go all out. It is. If it doesn't happen, then we can maybe try and reset. But what we do, we sign Italian zucchinis, we sign some Basque paella, and which is a number 6 or an 8, and then he plays as a striker and looks better than our striker, technically a striker and everything. We finished the transfer market with net profit, by the way, and on top of all of things, for a team that goes for a title, which team does that? Like, seriously, and now the rest is history.
Yeah. Money laundering and human trafficking, bro. It's a pyramid scheme. There's no other logic. When I look at it, I'm just like, you know, what is it? But like you said, they're just happy to coast. We're happy to get that UCL money. And cool, if that's the case, then just tell us. If it's a top 4 battle every season, just tell us. Don't tell us be excited and, you know, I've got goosebumps because of the plans we got in the summer. Because when you're rocking up with Sane, you know, washed up players like that, and Kepa, that doesn't give me goosebumps. I'm not even going to knock Sesko because he's a young player. Like I said, he's been unfortunate to be courted by the club when it's not really the time for him. We need a win now. We need a calculated risk. We need a big statement and someone who's just done for. It's not like he's ripping up world football. I know a few people are looking at him now, but I think surely it's purely maybe because of the interest that we've constantly given him. You know, we just need, and look, Dio's right, you know, going back to history, we don't do this. And I just said, you know, we just want to shake this. Can we just have something big for once? Someone told me in my chat as well that the owners can put in 109 million a year from their own pocket to help. And when has our owners ever done that? Do you know what I mean? When have we ever just had the one summer where we've got everything that we've identified very quick, got them on the tour early, everything's nice and smooth, and we go into the season really on a high thinking that we're going to do something? You know what I mean? Because as you said, even last season, like the one that's just finished where we totally flopped, the summer before that, I was thinking the same. This is it. Michael Jackson settings, third time lucky. Surely you got to go big now. And of course they didn't. And then this year, you know, this year we've already started off very, very slow. And like I said, it's possible for them to turn it around. But if they keep leaving it so long, you know, what players of real quality is going to be out there? Let me ask you, would you take Xavi Simons?
Xavi Simons? Number 10, right wing. I don't even know. If Odegaard goals, then yeah. Let's just put it that way. Because getting Simons means that somebody is not playing. One of them, because he's not going to... Simons comes in as a substitute, basically, at the end of the day. And if we have to pay about 60, 70 million for him, because Leipzig signed him just last summer. Obviously, they need to cover their costs because they're not in Europe whatsoever, but he's not starting. Because how can he even start? Saka is not getting dropped. He's an undroppable. Same goes for Odegaard. So where is he going to play? Like, if I look from that perspective, as Mikel would most likely look, I have no idea. Like, but overall, for squad depth, maybe, and that is also even maybe, to be honest, because we have players in our team that can do the job and who need to still learn. Unless we loan out, for example, Ranieri or I don't know, Dauman, for example, it's a very sticky situation, in my opinion, in that regard.
See, but look, and then Dio's saying that Simons would force Rice back into the 6. Rice is a 6. I'm sorry, we got him from West Ham playing as a 6. That's what we got, and what Arteta's trying to do with him is completely just dumb. It's wrong. It just doesn't make no sense. So that for me wouldn't be such a bad thing. You know, even if you played a double pivot and you kind of had Odegaard maybe just
Odegaard in the 8.
In the 8, just next to Rice, because he
in
likes
that regard, I would take a punt on it then, in that regard, but he doesn't see him as an 8. Odegaard anyways drops into 8 or a 6 spot half the time, so why not actually put him there?
Exactly. And then obviously it puts the impetus on someone like a Simons or a Eze or even a Ranieri. The reason why I asked you that is because when people say, oh look, we've got no midfielders, when you really think about it, we do.
Yeah.
We got Ranieri's a 10. Lewis Skelly is an 8. He's a progressive 8 as well. He's got all the profile stuff of Partey. Do you know what I'm saying? And he's only
Dauman is coming up. He's a 10 technically.
That's what I'm trying to say. So when people say, oh, we've got no options, well, not really. Like, so when people say, what, you're not excited about Zubi? I'm like, no, not really. That's not who I was asking for. We need attackers. I need to be excited. I need to for once to have a FIFA moment, a FM moment, you know, like we need to have a big summer, bro. Like just for once, not saying every summer, but for once, please.
But sadly, I kind of think that summer was the last summer, not this summer anymore, because at the end of the day, we are standing still in terms of development and progression and everything. And as I got taught by my grandfather and everything, only ways you can move is forwards and backwards. That's your decision how you move at the end of the day, right? And if you're standing still, at the end of the day, that means you're moving backwards. Because every other team and every other person that's behind you, they're catching you up and moving past you. So there is no stationary position. It's either forwards or backwards. Whether you see it before your eyes or you don't, it is happening on a daily basis at the end of the day. That's at least how I see it. But yeah, it's nuts, to be honest, being an Arsenal fan. I'm not gonna lie.
Trauma, guys, trauma.
It's trauma alerts all over the place. Arkham Asylum settings and everything.
Yeah. I'm resigned, Robbo. I'm resigned, bro. You know, I was getting excited. I was getting excited for Gyökeres. I was getting excited for Rodrigo. I felt like the little boy was ready to come out and listen. You go and get Rodrigo or bloody Gyökeres, and I'm going to buy a top. Do you know what I'm saying? And I haven't bought one since I don't even know 06 or something. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, that's the kind of thing that this club needs to do. All right, if we're not going to get Gyökeres now, there's nothing I can do. Yes, it feels like I'm in North Korea. Yes, it feels like the club hasn't got their finger on the pulse and don't know what the fans really want. Do you know what I mean? Which again, I'm looking at Arteta like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Because the fact, listen, look, my point exactly, right? When Berta came in and everyone kept saying, oh, Berta's really interested in Gyökeres, there was no talk about Sesko. All of that went dead. No one was complaining. Then all of a sudden, Arteta's keen on him, and it's all kind of swung back round again. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Make of that what you will, people. Make of that what you will.
Like, I know I kind of want to wrap it up here, right?
Yeah.
Latest thing I just read on X, Twitter, however you want to call it. Al Nassr are ready to offer 85 million plus for Luis Diaz to Liverpool.
Why does no one come in for our players like this, bro?
Well, they did last September. We just turned it down, to be honest. 35-40 million for Trossard, we turned it down.
Yeah, but 40 million. I mean, no one's putting in
Trossard. Nobody else is gonna put it now. Like,
yeah, but Diaz, bro, 70 odd million.
85 euros, 85 plus.
Wow.
Yeah, that's about 75, 77 something. But that means they will get money if they would decide to sell, which means they can get Sesko, Gyökeres, and everything, and
then we're in big trouble. Yeah,
and they're gone at the end of the day. It's nuts. It genuinely is nuts. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it here for today, at least, definitely. So shout out your thing, what you're coming up, what you're doing, and everything.
Yeah. Views on sport. I'm pretty sure most of the people in the chat know already. Big up Peppermint, Dio, everyone that's in here, Vigilante, AJ Bayer, everyone that's shown love. Make sure you're subscribing over here. Robbo's on the road to 1K. Make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you're subscribing. Don't be pagans. That's what I tell everyone. Come and show some love. But yeah, views on sport. Probably back tomorrow, 1 p.m. intervention. You know how we do. What's tomorrow? Tuesday. And then we got the Clean Through one-on-one, me and Shane at 7:30 over on his channel. And then on Wednesday, we have an Under the Lens with Saad's Football Corner. So watch out for that. And other than that, I'm not too sure other things to book in. But yeah, definitely tomorrow, intervention and Clean Through one-on-one.
Yeah, big up to you for coming on. Big up to you. Thank you for your time, to be honest. It takes it's
Come on, bro.
Let's be real. But yeah, big up to everyone who joined, who liked, who has subscribed. I haven't checked if anyone has, to be honest. And like that's the nuts thing. I have all that stuff off, to be honest. I never checked it, but for me, yeah. But yeah, for me, tomorrow, obviously, a stream in the evening, 8 p.m. If you haven't already, go to TikTok, go to YouTube Shorts. I basically upload every single day at this stage and everything. I'm not doing videos, so it is what it is. But tomorrow, hopefully, there are some good news. Some good news. Hopefully, but it's the deadline day, technically. So tomorrow is the deadline day, arguably the 10th day, and the window shuts closed. But like, we're not gonna sign anyone, and it looks like all the talks that July will be the time when we're gonna announce someone. It looks like to be true. Like, who we gonna announce, that's a completely different story based on the rumors and everything that's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, big up to everyone. Big up to you, Hughes. Big up to Boyton, Pepper, Why Not, AJ, Gavin, everyone who joined, who like, who subscribed. You've been fantastic. And see you guys soon. See you guys tomorrow. If you haven't already, go subscribe to Hughes as well. Like the thing. And tomorrow at 1 p.m. he's gonna be live. So hopefully I'm gonna catch you all there. Have a nice evening and peace out.
Peace.